Okay, so I'm going to explain number 14. And first, let me say that my equation will not look like that explicit equation on the answer key because that's just not how you would really do it as a student. They will be equivalent, so but let's work on how to do it. So what I do is I like to map out the terms. So the number of terms is on the bottom, and I know the second term is 5, and the seventh term is 15,000. So we need to find the ratio. So remember, the ratio is what you're going to multiply by. So I'm going to multiply it 1, then I would apply it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I know my ratio to the 5th power, and I need to figure out what is the quotient. So you always take the last term you know and divide it by the first term that you know, because you're going to multiply to get those numbers so you can divide. So I know that r to the 5th is equal to 3125, and then on your calculator you're going to take the 5th root. If you don't have a 5th root, you can also do 3125 to the 1/5 power. They're the same thing. But either way, that means that our ratio is equal to 5. So when we went forward, we multiplied by 5 each time to get there. So when we go backwards, you're going to divide by 5. So I know my first term is actually 1. So when I go to write my formula, let me get a different color. Since we're multiplying, it's geometric, so we've got A1 times our ratio to the n minus 1. So our first term is 1, our ratio is 5 to the n minus 1, and this would have been my explicit formula. Okay, I'll show you their answer key is 5 times 5 to the n minus 2. So that would be 5 to the first. When your bases are the same, you can actually add all the exponents together. So that gives you 5 to the n, and then 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And you'll see they are the same equivalently, but where they came up with that formula is they just thought about it. You should write your formula as the one on the right. So the answer keys aren't always going to be the method that you would actually get, okay? So for the recursive, you always state the first term. So f of 1 equals 1. And they stated the second term. That's fine. That would also be acceptable. And then you can state your pattern. So our pattern to get is the previous term and then times 5. So if your answers aren't always the same, it doesn't mean they're incorrect. There's always more than one answer, and that's why simplifying it usually is the best, but I know none of these answer keys are simplified, so that's also hard to judge. Okay, hope that helps.